So here we are going to find out the moment of inertia of a ring. Okay, so slowly we are going to introduce different objects and different axes for the same object, right? And we are going to find the moment of inertias. Unless and until we are able to find the moment of inertias of various typical objects, like for your syllabus you have typical shaped objects, solid as well as hollow, and those MIs you have to learn. You have to actually really by heart those MIs. Some MI like moment of inertia of certain objects you have to derive with the help of integration. Of course, for deriving or making use of integration, that is used for mains part, not even for CET part, but the derivation will come in your boards exam. So deriving the derivation part of an moment of inertia of some objects can come as a part of a theory question in your boards. From the problem point of view, it will come in the JEE mains paper, and for CET only the numericals of known MIs will be used for your CET problems. So all these things is not going to be so easy also. Of course, if explained properly, things are going to be easy for you as of now that you have learnt so far. Okay, now if I want to find the moment of inertia of this ring, ring means you know what is the ring. The ring, that is a circular object which is solid and it has got a fixed radius r. Now this ring is made up of, suppose let us take one particle of that ring. So this particle is m1. So this way m1, m2, m3, m4, m5, m6, m7, mn dot 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 mn. So we can say this ring is made up of n number of particles. So I am just taking now one particle, that is dm. Now forgetting all the other that part of the ring, just concentrate as though this is one object. Now this object is rotating around this axis with an angular velocity omega, right? So I want to find the moment of inertia only of that small object. So we know the moment of inertia is given as I would say small will be equal to, what was the relation that we had used for moment of inertia in the last derivation? It is mr square. It was a summation of all the mr square added together, but for a single particle it is the mass of that particle dm and what is the distance r square, right? This is the moment of inertia of the first particle or one particle. So the total moment of inertia of the whole ring will be what? It will be integration of dm r square. Why integration? Integration is nothing but a higher level of summation. We do summation if we know those n number of particles distinctly, like there is 1 lakh particles, 2000 particles, 10 particles. Then when we know those number of particles distinctly, then we use the summation part. Okay, but when we are infinitely dividing into n number of small parts, as small as possible, that we ourselves do not know how small a part this dm is going to be. So that time we do not know how much particles are going to be created, and if I have to add them, how much to add I would never know. What will be the smallest weight? I never know. But I know one thing, that it has got infinite number of parts and the smallest amount is dm. Could be micrograms, micrograms, whatever small may be the weight of that small part. In such a case, as you know, we always use integration. It's a superb mathematical tool to find the summation of all the small parts. How small it is, we do not know, only we describe it as the smallest part possible. Okay, so it is integration of dm r square, and this dm, which is the smallest part, is going to change from 0 value to a full value, that is the mass m of the ring. This dm is going to change from 0 is the smallest value of the 0th value of that mass to the total mass m. So if I integrate this dm, so here r square, all the other particles m1, m2, m3, m4, the radius r is same. Is it changing? Is the r changing for all the other particles? No. correct? R is constant. So the constants will always come out of the integration, and so it will be r square integration of dm, that is from 0 to m, that is summation of dm. Integration of dm is what? Integration of dx is what? X. Similarly, integration of dm will be equal to r square, and this will be m. So the moment of inertia of a ring is mr square, right? So with this we have derived the equation, that is the moment of inertia of a ring whose total mass of that ring is m and it is at a radius r. Now here we are not considering, or it is neglected, the dimensions of the ring, that this ring has got how much, what is the cross sectional area, thickness, it does not matter much. You have the radius r, this radius r will be to the center of the thickness of that ring, right? The ring will have some center, no? So that radius r is considered to be at the center of that thickness, and whatever may be the cross sectional area, it could be a circular, it could be a square shape, it could be a rectangular shape. I am talking about the shape of the ring. I mean, it's not shape of the ring, the cross sectional area of which the ring is made. I can make a ring with this circular, this would be the cross section, no? If it is converted into a circular ring. This could be also a square tube or a rectangular pipe tube which can be converted into a ring. So those dimensions will not matter, right? Once again I am telling you, it is the radius r and the total mass of the ring that will constitute the moment of inertia of that ring. Now here look at this, what are the properties? The moment of inertia of a ring which is perpendicular to the plane of the ring and passes through the center of mass of ring. Why this description? Because as I have said, any object can have infinite moment of inertias, correct? So here this moment of inertia is a description. It is perpendicular to the plane, that means this ring, suppose if it is this plane, this axis is perpendicular to the plane of that ring. Second, this axis is passing through the center of mass of the ring. I can have a moment of inertia also at this particular point, at an offset point also I can have a new axis. So in that case that moment of inertia is going to be different. Okay, so therefore here now we have found out the moment of inertia where this is the description where the axis is placed. This is very important. It is the moment of inertia at what axis? At different axes, as I have said, the moment of equation is going to change. It will not remain mr square, that we are going to see in the. Now let us see how we can find out the moment of inertia of a disk. Okay, what we have done here, we have found the moment of inertia of a ring. Before this ring, what we had done, we had found the moment of inertia of a small mass m in the last session, in which we had done the derivation of moment of inertia, in which it was dm into r square. R is the distance from where that mass is kept, right? So now with the help of this moment of inertia of a disk, we are going to derive of a ring, sorry, we are going to derive the moment of inertia of a disk. A disk is a solid plate, right? This is a tube, no? Ring is a rod which is bent into a circular shape. Disk is a normal solid plate with some thickness t. Okay, the thickness will not matter much. The thickness will not be of much importance, and I will tell you why. So right now we will assume, we will consider a disk. Now let this have an axis. From my drawing you must have known that this is a disk, so I cannot see what is that. I can show some thickness, but I am not showing the thickness of this disk. Okay, now let us consider this disk, how do we define a disk, right? In physics there are various different ways of defining an object using the geometry. So here there is one more interesting way of defining a disk. A disk can be considered as a rings of inner sizes which is kept together, and there will be a small dot in the center. Are you getting me? So it will be a composition of various rings of various radiuses, right, as smaller radiuses. If I have one ring inside another ring inside that ring with reducing radius, so ultimately what I will get is a disk. Okay, so let me take one small ring in this disk. Let us take one ring. So we have this ring R. Now let this ring so let this be a ring R. Let the distance or the radius of this ring be small r. Now this whole disk, right, this whole disk has a radius capital R and a total mass m. This disk is having a total mass of this disk is m, and the maximum radius of the disk is capital R. Okay, I will just show this thickness. I thought I can do without the thickness, but I will show you this thickness of this disk. Okay, so now let the thickness of the disk be given as T. This is your thickness of the disk, correct? Here let this be the moment of inertia of the whole disk. That is what we have to find out, and we do not know what is the moment of inertia of a disk, but we know the moment of inertia of a ring. Now it is equal to I mr square. Now this is, here we are finding the moment of inertia of a disk, and this is perpendicular to the plane again, and passing through the center of mass of that disk. This is the center of mass of that disk. Now here again I am going to use that the total moment of inertia I will be the integration of the moment of inertia of this ring, right? It will be the summation of all the moment of inertias of this ring. Okay, now what is the moment of inertia of the ring? The moment of inertia of the ring is, let us assume now here we had taken the whole mass as m, but here m is the total mass of the disk. So this ring will have a small mass dm. So the moment of inertia will be the integration of the rings with mass dm into r square. This is the small inertia of this ring. Okay, so if I integrate this inertia, I will get the total inertia of disk, that is the integration of dm r square. Now now this r is varying from where? How much a radius of rings I should have? One which is having a r equal to 0, and the maximum radius will be r. So I am going to integrate from 0 to r. 0 and r is the maximum radius of the disk, and r is the in between radius of one small ring that we had taken, correct? And what is the weight of that ring? It is dm. Now let us try to have in integration. If I have to find the integration of r square, the r square should be multiplied by dr. We had seen these rules for integration. If I have to integrate this term, this you have understood, this is the integration of all the rings. It is a summation of all the rings of reducing radius, and with the reduced with the new radius, the dm is also changed, because the mass of the external ring and the mass of the inner ring will be different, that mass is dependent on the radius. So there is some relation between the mass and the radius that we have to find out. This is the step number 2 while finding the integration of any relation. Okay, this relation how we have established, you have understood. Now whenever we want to add up infinite objects of varying parameters, we use integration. Correct? Now our next step is, this was your step number 1. The next step is to find the mass of this ring. Now what is the property of this ring? Suppose this is at a length dr and I have taken a very small length within this as dr. I have cut a very small section dr in this disc, which is going to constitute a ring. So the thickness of this ring here is dr. Are you getting this? Thickness of the ring is dr. Now look at this ring, the radius is r, the thickness is dr, and this, when I cut this ring will also have the same thickness t, because I am cutting from the top, right? If I slice out a ring out of the disc, that ring will also have the same thickness t. That thickness t will not change, no? So this will be the thickness of that ring. So this thickness t will remain the same because it's an internally cut ring from a disc. Okay. Now if this is the thickness t and the width of that ring is dr and it is at a radius r, can I find the volume of this ring? I have to find what? The volume of the ring. Why I have to find the volume of the ring? That ultimately I want to find a relation of dm with r, because dm for an internal ring will be lesser, whose radius is less, and there is some relation between this dm and r. That relation I have to find out. So how do I find this relation? I am going to make use of the equation of density. That density of this disc is equal to the total mass upon volume of this disc. Is the relation going to change? No. The density will be the same for the whole disc as well as for that small ring. So I can also write this equation. Let us give this as equation 2. So density is also equal to dm upon dv. dm is the mass of this ring and dv is the volume of this ring. So I can give it as dm, and what is the volume of this ring? Now this green color ring, if I stretch this, it will be like a this was that ring. If I open this ring, if I remove this ring, it has got thickness t. So let me show, this was the ring which had having a thickness t, and this was the width of that ring, which was taken as dr, right? So this dr is this dr, this thickness t is the thickness of that ring. Now I open this ring and I complete it into a linear length. So what will be the length of this? That will depend upon this r. So it will be 2 pi r will be the length of that ring if I straighten that. So what will be the volume of this ring? That will be 2 pi r into t into dr. This will be the dv, volume of this ring, if I open it up. Clear? Now the same volume I am going to use over here. So this volume will be now 2 pi r into t into dr, which gives me dm is equal to density into 2 into pi into r into t into dr. This is my relation. This is my relation 3. See how the steps we are going for integration. First we are deciding it will be the summation of all the rings of different radius. If I add them, I will get the total moment of inertia. If I add the inertias of all the rings, I will get the total inertia. This is one more important factor, is that the total inertia of any object is the sum of inertias of all the other what is the moment of inertia of all the other bodies around the same axis. Because the axis is the same, so I am adding up all the inertias of the rings around this particular axis, therefore I am using the summation. So it gives me dm into r square. This is what this relation I have established from, that is the moment of inertia of a ring, that is the mass of the ring into r square. Here m was the total mass of this ring, here dm I have taken the mass of this ring because capital M is the mass of the whole disk. Got it? Now my job was to find dm in terms of r. So I am making use of the equation of density. Density is dm upon dv. So dm upon 2 pi rt dr. So from here I have told you how I have found out the volume. I am substituting over here. Now this value of dm, when I substitute in this equation, then I will get the total moment of inertia is equal to integration, that is density into 2 into pi into t, density into 2 into pi into t into r into dr, and this is going to vary from 0 to capital R. Now let us take those values which are not going to change. When I am trying to find the moment of inertia of all the rings, the smallest ring, I hope you are getting me, no, that this is made up of n number of rings from 0 to maximum r. It is a summation of rings. A disk is a summation of so many rings, like concentric rings. Okay, starting with 0 radius and ending up with maximum capital R is the radius, that is the radius of your disk. Now here, while integration, we have a typical method that we have to, the next step is to remove all the constants which are not going to change. So is the density going to change for the smaller ring or the external ring? No. So we are going to have this density into 2 into pi into t. Is the thickness changing for all the rings? No, it is remaining constant, right? Because thickness t is same for all the rings. So here integration of 0 to r, and this is what we are having is 2 pi r. Here already there was r square over here. Now I am using here this as r into r square. Sorry, here this should be multiplied by r square, because this term was only a replacement of dm. This r square was already over there, so I am using it over here again. So here this r will remain here over here, all the other constants will go out, and this r square will make it as r cube and dr. Right? So now we have a very clean integrable equation. As I have said, for integration we should have the equation in the format r dr, x dx, theta d theta, sin theta into d theta, so that d theta or dr should be over there, that is the smallest distance or the smallest angle we normally take while doing the integration. So we have taken a very small width dr to cut a ring out of this disk, that is why that dr has come. Okay, so once it is in this particular form, the next job is to find the integration of this. So what is the integration of this? So density into 2 into pi into t into r raised to n. Integration is r raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1. Okay, so it is going to be r raised to 4 upon 4 from 0 to r. Now replacing this r over here, I will have density into 2 pi into t into, sorry, now replacing this, it will be capital R raised to 4 upon 4. This will get cancelled, so I will have 1/2 into density into pi into t into r raised to 4. Now here I don't want to make use of the density, so I want to remove this density. Now to remove the variable, the density that is used over here, because in the problem they don't give us the density, they just say that this is a disk of radius r and mass m. Density we have taken for our convenience, so we have to again eliminate that. So to eliminate that, I am going to make use of this equation, that density is also equal to the total mass upon the total volume. Okay, So in this case, how am I going to write? I am going to use the equation density equal to total mass upon total volume, and therefore the I will be written as 1/2 density is total mass upon total volume into pi into T into R raised to 4. So this is going to be R raised to 4. So you have mass is the total mass of this ring. What is the volume of the disc? What is the volume of any disc? That is the area of the disc into the thickness T. And what is the area of the disc? Pi r square. So I am going to have this as 1/2 mass m, volume of the disc is pi r square into T, that is the thickness T. This will be the volume of the disc into pi into T into R raised to 4. So from here you can see the pi and pi getting cancelled, T and T getting cancelled, R square getting cancelled, it will be only 2. So it will be 1/2 m R square. This is the moment of inertia of a disc. What is this? This is the moment of inertia of a disc. About which axis? Axis which is perpendicular to the plane of the disc and passing through the center of mass of the disc. That is very, very important to understand the position of the axis. As I have said, as we are going to define the moment of inertia of various different objects, the axis is very important, right? Where the axis is being positioned. The description of the axis is very important. You cannot say this is the generalized moment of inertia of a disc. No, this moment of inertia is only for a disc where the axis is perpendicular to the plane of the disc and passing through the center of mass of the disc. That is the definition or the position of the mi, and that has come to be equal to 1/2 mr square. Now the moment I change the position of the axis and place it at some other point, the whole theory is going to change and I have to redefine the moment of inertia for this, but every time doing it through integration is going to be difficult. So there are certain shortcut theorems through which I can find the moment of inertia. Once I know the moment of inertia of any object passing through the center of mass, the other moment of inertia I can find out using certain theorems, and those theorems we are going to learn now. Before that, this is a derivation, so please make a note of this.